All right, this is Chapter 4, Lesson 5, Convert Measurement Units. So, when you're converting larger units to smaller units, each relationship in the table can be written as a ratio. For example, you know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. You can use the ratio 3 feet over 1 yard to convert from yards to feet. Okay, so here's a table of some common customary conversions. So I have some length ones, feet to inches, yards to feet, miles to feet, some for weight, pounds to ounces, tons to pounds, and capacity, cups to ounces, pints to cups, quarts to pints, and gallons to quarts. Okay. So like a unit rate, a blank blank is one in which the denominator is 1 unit. So in this, you're going to write unit ratio. Okay, so like a unit ratio is one in which the denominator is 1 unit. So the ratio 3 feet over 1 yard is a unit ratio. Blank blank is the process of including units of measurement as factors when you compute. In those two blanks, you're going to write dimensional analysis. So dimensional analysis is the process of including units of measurement as factors when you compute. Okay. So just like you can have larger units to smaller units, you can also convert small units to large units. So remember that the ratio 1 yard over 3 feet and 3 feet over 1 yard are equivalent. Okay. Notice I have 3 feet in both of them. One's in the denominator, one's in the numerator, and 1 yard and 1 yard. Okay. To convert from smaller units to larger units, choose the ratio that allows you to divide out the common units. So I want to get rid of, so in this case, feet, right? So I would choose 1 yard over 3 feet, because then these would cancel. Okay, so, and I can't use this one because if I use this one, I would just be multiplying my feet by themselves. So this is the one I would have to use. Okay. So a couple of examples. Number 1, convert 20 feet to inches. So since 1 foot equals 12 inches, the unit ratio is 12 inches to 1 foot. So I'm going from a larger to a smaller. Right? So if I were to write this ratio, I would have 20 feet times 12 inches over 1 foot. Okay. Notice that my feet cancel out. That's what I want it to do. Okay. So I want feet in the numerator, and I want feet in the denominator. So they cancel each other. So then I have 20 times 12. Well, 20 times 12 is 240 inches. So 20 feet equals 240 inches. Okay. Example number 2 says Marco mixes 1/4 cup of fertilizer with soil before planting each bulb. How many fluid ounces of fertilizer does he use per bulb? So I'm going from cups to ounces. According to my chart, there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. So I have 1/4 cup equals 1/4 C, that stands for cup, times 8 fluid ounces over 1 cup. My cups cancel. So now I have 1/4 times 8 fluid ounces. 8 times 1 gives me 8, divided by 4 gives me 2, so I have 2 fluid ounces. So 2 fluid ounces of fertilizer are used per bulb. Okay. Example number 3 says convert 15 quarts to gallons. Since 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, and quarts are smaller units than gallons, use the ratio 1 gallon over 4 quarts. 15 quarts equals 15 quarts times 1 gallon over 4 quarts. Okay. As seen here, my quarts cancel each other out, which is what I wanted them to do. So now I have 15 times 1/4. So 15 times 1 gives me 15. Over 4, when I divide, I get 3.75 gallons. So on page 77, there is the kingdom of capacity. So, once upon a time, in the kingdom of capacity, there was a very special place called Gallon Castle. Inside Gallon Castle lived 4 queens. Each queen had 1 prince and 1 princess. Each prince and princess had 2 cats. And each cat was required to drink 8 ounces of milk per day to keep their silky coats. Okay. Now, it may seem like a little bit of a silly story, but this foldable will actually help you with measurement. Okay, so I have gallon. So gallon. Each of the Q's represents quarts. So there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. There are 2 pints, the prince and the princess, for 1 quart. And there are 2 cups, 2 cats, for each of the pints. And each of those cats is 8 ounces. So cups, 8 ounces. Okay. On page 78, there are a couple of try-it problems. So I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try out the try-it problems, and then when you've tried them out, we will go over the answers together. All right, letter A says 36 yards equals blank feet. Okay, so I'm starting with 36 yards. And I want to know how many yards. I'm going from yards to feet. Okay, so there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So these are the 2 different ones I could use. I want to get rid of yards. Okay, so which one? If yards is in the top, I need to have yards in the denominator. So this is the one I'm going to use for my conversion. Okay. So now I'm going to take 36 yards times 3 feet over 1 yard. My yards cancel. So now I have 36 times 3 feet, which equals 108 feet. Okay, so letter A, 108 feet. Letter B says 3/4 tons equals blank pounds. I'm going from tons, and I want to go to pounds. 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. Okay, LBS represents pounds. So I can either have one of these 2 conversions. Okay, tons right now is in the top. I want to get rid of it. So that means it has to be in the bottom. So I can't use this one. I have to use this one. So I have 3/4 tons times 2,000 pounds over 1 ton. The tons cancel. So now I have 3/4 times 2,000. which equals 1,500 pounds. Okay, so for letter B, pounds. Letter C says 1.5 quarts equals blank pints. So, if you remember back to our story, quarts and pints, each queen had 2, 1 prince and 1 princess, so that's 2. So 1 quart is 2 pints. Or 2 pints is 1 quart, okay? To figure out which one I want to use, I have quarts on top, so I can't use this one, so I have to use this one. So I get 1.5 quarts times 2 pints over 1 quart. My quarts cancel, so I'm left with 1.5 times 2 pints. When I multiply 1.5 times 2, I get 3 pints. So 1.5 quarts equals 3 pints. Letter D says Jen runs 1/8 of a mile before tennis practice. How many feet does she run before tennis practice? Okay. So I'm going from miles so I have 1/8 mile. One mile is 5,280 feet. Okay, so I write my 2 ratios. Miles is on top, so I can't use this one. So I have to use this one. So I get 1/8 mile times 5,280 feet over 1 mile. My miles cancel. So now I have 1/8 times 5,280 feet. And this equals 660 feet. Okay. So for letter D, 1/8 of a mile is 660 feet. For letter E, I have 2,640 feet equals blank miles. So again, 1 mile, 5,280 feet. Okay. Feet's in my numerator, so I have to have feet in my denominator to get rid of it. So I can't use this one. So now I have 2,640 feet times 1 mile over 5,280 feet. My feet cancel. So I have 2,640 times 1 over 5,280. So I'm basically dividing these. And when I do that, I get 0.5 miles. So letter E, 2,640 feet, 0.5 miles. For letter F, I have 100 ounces equals blank pounds. Okay. One pound is 16 ounces. Okay. So I have ounces in my numerator, which means I have to have them in my denominator. So this goes away. 100 ounces times 1 pound over 16 ounces. My ounces cancel. So I have 100 times 1/16. Okay. So I'm basically dividing again. 100 divided by 16 equals 6.25 pounds. So 100 ounces, 6.25 pounds. Letter G, 3 cups equals blank pints. So again, according to my gallon capacity, there are 2 cups in a pint. So 2 cups, 1 pint. 1 pint, 2 cups. Okay, cups in my numerator, so I have to have cups in my denominator. This one's out. So I have 3C times 1 pint over 2C. My cups cancel. So I'm left with 3 times 1/2. Which gives me 1.5 pints. So 3 cups is 1.5 pints, or 1.5 pints. Okay. And that is the end of lesson 5.